Forget the cowboy image, the wide ranches, and the blazing blue skies. Deep in the heart of the Lone Star State, there are stories far darker than the Texas we think we know. These are tales from small towns cloaked in dust and silence, places where past tragedies refuse to be buried. These towns aren't just relics of history, they're cold spots on the Texas map, hiding some of the state's deepest horrors. Here, every step down an empty street is a walk across layers of history soaked in sorrow, curses, and creeping terror. This is the ultimate list of the most chilling places, towns where the dead simply refuse to rest. Welcome to the 15 most haunted small towns in Texas. Indianola was once a rising star, known for its shining reputation as the busiest port in Texas during the 19th century. Everyone believed the town would thrive and keep growing. It was even a major entry point for immigrants and trade, but its fate took a deadly turn. In 1886, two massive hurricanes devastated Indianola, leaving almost nothing behind but shattered foundations. According to legend, the hundreds of souls lost to the storm, those who drowned or were buried in the wreckage, still haunt the shoreline. At night, fishermen report hearing whispers of despair and seeing blurred figures calling for help in the high tide. Indianola is a grim reminder that sometimes nature itself becomes the most brutal executioner. From a port town destroyed by nature, we now move inland to one that was deliberately drowned. Old Bluffton was once a peaceful small town until the government decided to build Buchanan Dam. For the state, the cost may have seemed worth the benefit, but for Bluffton's residents, it was a devastating loss. The entire town was submerged beneath Lake Buchanan in the 1930s. The creepiest part? During severe droughts, the ruins of Old Bluffton, building foundations, and even remnants of the old cemetery rise back to the surface. Yes, when the shadow of that old church steeple appears through the muddy waters, it feels like ghosts from the past are resurfacing. Locals believe the entities left behind in the lake's depths have never found peace. From a town swallowed by water, we head to one abandoned by people. In far west Texas lies Toyah, a classic ghost town that offers an eerie kind of fear, as if its entire population vanished in a blink. Once a bustling railroad hub, Toyah fell hard when the Great Depression hit. The town didn't recover. Today, old wooden buildings still stand, eerily empty, as if life was suddenly paused. Locals share chilling tales of lights flickering on in vacant windows and footsteps echoing across dusty streets with no one in sight. Toyah is a time capsule frozen in place, haunted by silence. Unlike Toyah's silence, the quiet in Terlingua comes with the pressure of desert winds. This iconic ghost town in the Chihuahuan Desert was born during the mercury mining boom of the late 1800s. Life here was brutal, marked by accidents and mercury-related illnesses. When the mines closed, the town simply died. Beneath the desert's raw beauty, Terlingua is said to be haunted by the souls of suffering miners. One of the most chilling spots is the Old Theater, where visitors often report hearing ghostly tools clanking and distant laughter. But the true horror lies in the old cemetery up on the hill, a place where the miners' spirits are supposed to rest. Or, more likely, wait. From a desert of suffering, we now turn to one of the world's most famous light mysteries. That's right, Marfa is a unique artsy town, but its fame goes far beyond galleries and installations. One of its strangest attractions is the Marfa lights, floating orbs that have danced along the desert horizon since the 1800s. Strangely, scientists have never been able to explain them, but local legends offer much darker answers. The lights are said to be the spirits of lost Spanish explorers or fallen Apache warriors. Travelers and locals often spend the night at observation points, watching the colorful orbs move unpredictably, knowing full well they're witnessing something that defies all logic. After exploring the desert's natural mysteries, we enter towns marked by tales of death. First is Jefferson, a charming small town in East Texas that hides a much darker past. At the center of its haunted history is the Grove Mansion, a grand Victorian estate said to be haunted by the spirit of Minerva Fox Stilley, who died under mysterious circumstances in the home. Her ghost is believed to be trapped there. Visitors report seeing the shadowy figure of a woman, suddenly smelling roses, and feeling an extreme drop in temperature on the main staircase. Yes, Jefferson may look picturesque by day, but its terror creeps in at dusk, especially in its old, silent homes. Now, we leave behind haunted mansions and head to a place where justice often ended in tragedy. If you've heard of Gonzales, it's known for its major role in the Texas Revolution, home to the famous Come and Take It battle. But its most chilling tale comes from the Old Jail Museum. Yes, this old jail once held prisoners of war and criminals who met grim fates within its walls. Today's visitors to the museum often report strange experiences, hearing dragging chains and feeling physical pushes from unseen forces. The most active area is the narrow cells where inmates died. Like many of Texas's haunted towns, Gonzales is a silent witness, not just to the fight for freedom, but to endless, lingering suffering. And then, right in the heart of peaceful hill country, Glen Rose hides its own ghost story inside the historic Glen Rose Hotel. Not just any old hotel, its most famous legend centers around a bride who died in her room on her wedding night. Yes, her grief and shock are said to have bound her spirit to this place. Over the years, guests and paranormal investigators have reported hearing sobs and glimpsing the silhouette of a woman in a wedding gown, wandering hallways or appearing at the foot of their bed. This hotel is a chilling reminder that not all love stories end happily. Some end in a haunting silence. Speaking of hotels, if one bride haunts one room, this small town has a hotel with at least 30 ghosts. You may have heard of it. This is Ballinger, home to the Old Park Hotel, widely known as one of the most paranormally active locations in Texas. Former owner Jeanette Finley claimed to have identified at least 30 distinct entities roaming its halls. From children laughing and running down empty corridors to the figure of a man standing silently in the hallway, the activity here never really stops, but not because of the living. Yes, Ballinger is a welcoming small town, but the guests of this hotel, sadly, they never truly checked out. From the busy hotel halls, we move into the empty corridors of a crumbling building in a town called Pampa. The horror here isn't spread across the city, it's concentrated in one place, the abandoned Worley Hospital. Originally built in 1929 as the town's first hospital, it closed down in the 1970s as Pampa's population sharply declined. Since then, the decaying structure has become a magnet for ghost hunters, drawn in by stories of death, malpractice, and rumored dark experiments inside its walls. Reports of cries echoing from the empty operating room, ghostly nurses seen in shadowy wards, and old medical tools moving on their own have made Pampa a terrifying hotspot of medical horror. After the ruins and haunted buildings, we now turn to a legend tied to the road itself. Right along Highway 287, near the town of Dumas, an urban legend comes to life: the Phantom Hitchhiker. This tale circulates among truck drivers and nighttime travelers. Many report eerie encounters with a young woman, often appearing wet or disoriented, hitching a ride in the dead of night. But as the vehicle reaches a certain stretch of road, the passenger vanishes from the back seat without ever opening the door. Whether fact or fiction, one thing's for sure: Dumas may be quiet, but its roads are never truly empty. From roadside mysteries, we arrive at a town that might just challenge your sense of reality. Hico is a small town in central Texas. Peaceful, yes, but you may have heard the conspiracy theory that ties it to one of the darkest chapters in U.S. history. According to legend, John Wilkes Booth, the man who assassinated Abraham Lincoln, faked his death and lived out the rest of his days here under a new identity. Historians deny the claim, but Hico's legend says Booth's spirit never left. Visitors often report a heavy presence, especially near the old jail and saloons. Hico is haunted by a man who couldn't outrun his own sins. Far from the fugitives, we now arrive at a resting place where peace is hard to find. In a town called Salado, the source of fear is the Salado Cemetery, one of the oldest burial grounds in the region. Here, visitors report classic but highly unsettling phenomena: shadowy figures moving between the headstones, and most disturbing of all, a sudden, icy touch on your arm or shoulder, as if a spirit resting there is reaching out for attention. Salado reminds us that even in their final resting place, some souls simply refuse to rest. From a crowded graveyard, we move to a town haunted by an ancient curse. Old Town Spring is often called the ghost capital of Texas, due to its many haunted places and chilling tales rooted in its rich past. From train explosions and Civil War stories to Native American legends. Though this historic district appears quaint and inviting, it's believed to be cursed by the spirits of the Akisa tribe, one of the region's early native peoples. In the 17th century, the tribe faced great suffering and destruction at the hands of European settlers. According to legend, they placed a final curse upon the land. Locals and investigators report fleeting shadows, whispers in unknown languages, and an overwhelming, choking sense of dread. Interestingly, Old Town Spring thrives today because of these ghost stories. Haunted tours are now a top attraction, leading visitors through buildings like the Hudson House, the former State Bank of Texas, and old spots like Trilogy Brew and the original Wee Brothers Cafe, all known for paranormal activity, further cementing the town's haunted reputation. Finally, we end our journey at one of the most iconic and terrifying places in Texas. Near Denton stands a bridge known far and wide as Goatman's Bridge, the heart of a chilling urban legend. The story tells of a black man named Oscar Washburn, who was lynched on this bridge by the KKK in the 1930s. His spirit is said to have transformed into a demonic hybrid creature, the Goat Man, who now haunts the bridge. Visitors often report the sound of hoofbeats and glimpses of blurry, inhuman figures. This is a place where brutal history and dark legend collide to form a true Texas horror icon. From these 15 terrifying towns and locations across Texas, we gain a deeper understanding. Behind the vast deserts and bright skies, there is always room for darkness. These stories aren't just folklore, they're reminders that pain and tragedy have a way of attaching themselves to places and refusing to let go. In the end, as you travel across Texas, remember these towns. Be careful where you stop, what you hear in the silence, and the figure you may see standing alone on a quiet road. So, of all the places we've visited, which town do you think is the most haunted